party, making everything look sharp and clear and expensive. Tiana stood near the gift table, watching her stepsister Brielle hold court in the center of the room, her ring catching the light with every dramatic hand gesture. The party had cost more than most people's weddings, and Brielle made sure everyone knew it. Tiana smoothed down her navy blue dress, the nicest one she owned, and tried not to feel small. She'd spent weeks deciding on the perfect engagement gift. Her grandmother had passed away 4 months ago, leaving Tiana $50,000. Grandma Rose had been specific in her will. The money was for Tiana alone, not to be shared with the stepfamily who had made Tiana's teenage years difficult. But Tiana wanted to be the bigger person. She wanted to show Brielle and her stepmother Carol that she harbored no resentment, even though they'd treated her like an outsider for 15 years. So she'd written a check for the full $50,000 and tucked it into a beautiful engagement card. She'd wrapped it in silver paper with a white ribbon. It wasn't much to look at from the outside, but inside was a life-changing amount of money. She'd placed it on the gift table 2 hours ago, her hands trembling slightly. This was her inheritance, her safety net, her future. But family was supposed to come first, right? That's what everyone always said. "Where's Preston?" Her father's voice made her turn. Dad looked uncomfortable in his suit, out of place among Carol's wealthy friends. "He's over there." Tiana nodded toward the bar where her husband of 3 years stood with his phone, barely looking up. He'd been distant lately, always on his phone, always tired, always somewhere else even when he was right there. He said he needed to take some work calls. "At your stepsister's engagement party?" Her father frowned. "That boy works too much." Tiana said nothing. Preston's job as a financial analyst paid well, but lately money seemed tighter than it should be. Their joint account was lower than usual, and when she'd asked about it, Preston had gotten defensive, saying she didn't understand investment opportunities and market volatility. She'd let it go. She always let things go. "All right everyone, time for gifts." Carol's voice rang out across the room. She clapped her hands together and the crowd quieted down. "Brielle, honey, come open your presents." Brielle squealed and rushed to the gift table, her fiancé Tyler trailing behind her with an indulgent smile. Tiana watched as Brielle began tearing through presents, each one met with exaggerated gasps and thank yous. Crystal vases, expensive kitchen appliances, gift cards to exclusive stores. The pile of discarded wrapping paper grew. Then Brielle picked up Tiana's gift. Tiana's heart hammered in her chest. This was it. This was the moment when everything would change. Brielle would open it, see the check, and maybe, just maybe, things between them would finally be good. But Brielle didn't open it. She looked at the silver paper, turned it over in her hands and wrinkled her nose. "What is this, dollar store wrapping paper?" She laughed and her friends laughed with her. "Brielle, just open it," Carol said, but there was amusement in her voice too. "You know what? I'm not even going to bother." Brielle walked toward the trash bin near the wall. "This is clearly from someone who put zero effort in. Probably a cheap gift card or something." Tiana's mouth went dry. "Wait, Brielle." But Brielle had already tossed the gift into the trash bin with a careless flick of her wrist. The silver package landed with a soft thud among the discarded plates and napkins. There. More room for real gifts. Brielle turned back to the table and the crowd laughed. Someone muttered something about poor relatives and knowing your place. Tiana couldn't move. She stared at the trash bin, at the corner of silver paper peeking out from under a used napkin. $50,000. Her entire inheritance. Her grandmother's final gift to her. Just thrown in the garbage like it was nothing. "Tiana, honey, maybe don't bring gifts next time if you can't afford something nice," Carol said sweetly, touching Tiana's arm. "No one will judge you for coming empty-handed. Well, not much anyway." She laughed, that tinkling laugh that never reached her eyes. Tiana looked toward Preston, desperate for him to say something, to defend her, to do anything. He glanced up from his phone, met her eyes, and then looked away. He said nothing. He did nothing. Her father stood frozen beside her, his face red, mouth opening and closing like he wanted to speak but couldn't find the words. "I need some air," Tiana managed to whisper. She walked toward the bathroom on legs that didn't feel like her own, aware of the whispers following her. "Poor thing. She's always been a bit pathetic. I heard she comes from nothing." In the bathroom, Tiana gripped the sink and stared at her reflection. She was 31 years old. She had a college degree, a good job as an elementary school teacher, a husband, a family. She was supposed to have it together. So why did she feel like that 16-year-old girl again, sitting at the dinner table while Carol and Brielle talked over her like she wasn't there? "Because you let them," a voice whispered in her head. "You've always let them." Tiana splashed cold water on her face and waited until her hands stopped shaking. Then she walked back out to the party. 2 hours later, after the cake was cut and the champagne was drunk and the guests started filtering out, Tiana made her way back to the trash bin. She waited until no one was looking, then reached in and pulled out the silver package. It was stained with red wine and smelled like garbage, but it was intact. "What are you doing?" Preston appeared behind her, making her jump. "Getting something that belongs to me." Tiana clutched the package to her chest. "You look ridiculous digging through the trash." Preston's voice was cold, detached. "Let's just go home." On the drive home, Preston didn't ask what was in the package. He didn't apologize for not defending her. He just drove in silence, his jaw tight, his fingers drumming on the steering wheel. When they got home, Tiana went straight to their bedroom and locked the door. She carefully unwrapped the package, her fingers peeling away the wine-stained paper. The card was still intact. She opened it. The check was there. $50,000 made out to Brielle Watson. But Tiana's grandmother's will had been clear. This money was Tiana's. She'd written the check, but she didn't have to give it away. Brielle had thrown it in the trash without even looking at it. Tiana picked up her phone and called the bank. It was late, but their automated system was available 24 hours. She voided the check. Then she tore it into tiny pieces and watched them flutter into the bathroom trash can. Tomorrow she would deposit her inheritance into an account only she controlled. Tonight, she would lie in bed next to a man who couldn't even stand up for her in front of his friends, and she would start to wonder what else in her life she'd been accepting that she shouldn't. Outside, thunder rumbled. The weather forecast had said clear skies, but storms had a way of appearing when you least expected them. Tiana turned off the light and lay in the darkness, listening to Preston's breathing in the other room. Something had shifted tonight. Something fundamental. She'd watched her stepsister throw away $50,000 without a second thought, watched her husband stand silent while she was humiliated, and she'd realized something important. She was done being the person people threw away. Monday morning came with harsh sunlight and a headache that felt like someone had wrapped Tiana's skull in barbed wire. Preston had left for work at his usual time, 6:30, without saying goodbye. That wasn't new. What was new was the way Tiana noticed it, the way it bothered her in a way it hadn't before. She'd taken the day off from teaching using one of her personal days. She told the school she had a doctor's appointment. It wasn't exactly a lie, she felt sick, just not in a way any doctor could fix. After Preston left, Tiana sat at their kitchen table with a cup of coffee and stared at her phone. She'd already been to the bank first thing when it opened at 8. The $50,000 was now safely deposited in a new account, one with only her name on it. The bank officer had been helpful, suggesting she set up the account with extra security features. Tiana had agreed to all of it, feeling like she was doing something vaguely illegal even though the money was legally hers. Now she sat in the quiet house and tried to figure out what to do next. The engagement party kept replaying in her mind. Brielle's careless laugh. The way she'd thrown the gift in the trash without even looking at who it was from. Carol's sweet, poison voice. And Preston. Always Preston, standing there with his phone, his face blank, his silence the loudest thing in the room. Tiana got up and walked to Preston's home office. He had a desk set up in the spare bedroom where he worked sometimes on weekends. She'd never gone through his things before. It felt wrong, invasive. But then again, watching your husband refuse to defend you felt wrong too. His laptop sat on the desk, still open. Preston usually closed it, but he'd been in such a rush this morning. Tiana stood in the doorway for a long moment, her conscience and her gut instinct warring with each other. Her gut won. She sat down at the desk and touched the trackpad. The screen lit up immediately, he hadn't even locked it. His email was open. The inbox showed dozens of messages, mostly work-related. Tiana scrolled through them, not really sure what she was looking for. Then she saw a name that made her stop, Brielle. The email was from last week, Thursday evening. The subject line was blank. Tiana's hand hovered over the trackpad for just a second before she clicked. Can't wait to see you Friday. Wear that black dress I like. Pisty is bringing a gift to the party. Should be funny to watch her try to fit in. I'll make sure everyone sees how pathetic she is. Tiana read it 3 times. Then she scrolled down to see Preston's response. You're terrible. But that's why I love you. See you Friday. I'm bringing the last of it, $5,000. That should cover the rest of your credit card bill. The words blurred together. Tiana blinked hard, trying to focus. $5,000. Preston had given Brielle $5,000. For her credit card bill. She scrolled further down the email chain. It went back 2 years. 2 entire years of messages between her husband and her stepsister. Flirty messages at first, then explicit ones. Plans to meet at hotels. Discussions about how to hide the affair from Tiana and Carol and everyone else. And money. So much discussion about money. The investment account is down to $12,000. T hasn't noticed yet. Transfer another $3,000 to my account. I need it for the spa weekend. She's so stupid about finances. We could take it all and she'd never figure it out. Tiana's hands started shaking so hard she had to grip the desk to steady herself. She forced herself to keep reading, to see everything. 2 years. They'd been doing this for 2 years. The affair was bad enough, but the money made it so much worse. Preston had been taking money from their accounts, her money she'd earned from her teaching salary and her summer tutoring jobs, and giving it to Brielle. Thousands of dollars. Maybe tens of thousands. Tiana opened their online banking app on her phone with trembling fingers. Their main joint account showed a balance of $8,000. That wasn't right. They should have at least $30,000. They'd been saving for a down payment on a bigger house. She checked the transaction history. Regular withdrawals. $2,000 here, $3,000 there, $500 every week. All of them authorized by Preston. All of them going to an account she didn't recognize. Then she found something worse. A loan. $75,000 taken against their house 3 months ago. The house was in both their names. Tiana had never signed any loan paperwork. She would have remembered. You didn't borrow that much money and forget about it. She clicked on the loan details. There was a scanned copy of the application. And there, at the bottom, was her signature. Except it wasn't her signature. It was close. Close enough that a bank officer who'd only glanced at it might not notice. But Tiana knew her own signature. She'd been signing documents for years. The way she looped the A in Tiana, the little flourish on the at the end. This signature had neither of those things. Preston had forged her signature to take out a loan against their house. Tiana stood up so fast the office chair rolled backwards and hit the wall. She paced the small room, her breath coming in short gasps. This wasn't just an affair. This wasn't just betrayal. This was fraud. This was theft. She grabbed her phone and started taking pictures. Every email. Every transaction. The loan documents. She photographed everything, her hands steadier now that she had a purpose. She created a new folder in her cloud storage and uploaded everything. Then she emailed the entire folder to herself at her school email address, just to be safe. When she was done, she sat back down at the desk and kept digging. She found more emails. Conversations between Preston and Brielle about Tiana. How she was boring in bed, and couldn't dress herself properly, and had no idea how to be a real wife. They made fun of her teaching job, calling it glorified babysitting. They laughed about how trusting she was, how easy it was to fool her. In one email from 6 months ago, Brielle had written, "When are you going to leave her? You keep saying you will but you never do." Preston's response, "Soon. I need to move more assets first. The house is almost clear, and she has that inheritance coming from her grandmother. Once that's settled, I'll file for divorce and we can be together." They'd been planning this. The whole time. The affair, the theft, the divorce. They'd been planning to take everything from her and leave her with nothing. Tiana thought about her grandmother's $50,000. If she'd given that check to Brielle at the party, if Brielle had actually opened it and deposited it, that money would be gone now. They would have taken it just like they'd taken everything else. She closed the laptop carefully and walked back to the kitchen. She made herself another cup of coffee even though her hands were shaking too badly to hold the cup steady. She sat at the table and thought about the past 3 years of her marriage. The way Preston had insisted they combine all their finances, because married people trust each other. The way he'd handled all their investments and bills because he was better with numbers. The way he'd started staying late at work more often, going on weekend business trips, being distant and distracted at home. Signs she'd ignored because she wanted to believe her marriage was solid. Signs she'd explained away because confrontation was uncomfortable and she'd grown up learning to keep quiet and not make waves. But keeping quiet had cost her everything. Tiana picked up her phone and searched for divorce lawyers. She found one with good reviews and offices not too far from her school. She called and made an appointment for Wednesday afternoon. The receptionist asked if this was an urgent matter. "Yes," Tiana said. Her voice came out stronger than she expected. "Yes, it is." Then she called her brother Jerome. He lived across town with his wife Kia and their 2 kids. They'd always been close, even though they didn't see each other as much as they should. What's wrong?" Jerome answered on the second ring and Tiana realized she was crying. "Can I come over? I need to talk to you. We're home. Come now." Tiana drove to Jerome's house with the windows down, letting the cold air dry her tears. She needed to be calm. She needed to be smart. She couldn't fall apart yet. When she got there, Jerome and Kia were waiting on the porch. Jerome took one look at her face and pulled her into a hug. What happened? Tiana told them everything. The engagement party. The thrown-away gift. The emails. The affair. The stolen money. The forged signature. When she was done, Jerome's jaw was clenched so tight she could see the muscle jumping. Kia had tears in her eyes. That's fraud, Kia said. She worked as an accountant and understood financial crimes. Forging your signature on a loan? That's a federal offense. He could go to jail. I don't want him to go to jail, Tiana said automatically. Then she stopped. Actually, I don't know what I want. I just want him gone. I want my money back. I want my life back. You'll get it, Jerome said. His voice was hard and angry in a way Tiana had rarely heard. We'll make sure of it. Does he know you found out? No. He's at work. He has no idea. Good. Jerome stood up. Keep it that way. Don't tell him anything. Don't confront him. Just get your lawyer and get your evidence together and then hit him with everything at once. What about Brielle? Tiana asked. And Carol? They're family. They stopped being family when they decided to destroy you, Kia said quietly. You don't owe them anything. Not anymore. Tiana stayed at Jerome's house for 3 hours. They helped her make a plan. She would act normal at home. She would gather more evidence if she could find it. She would meet with the lawyer. She would open new accounts and protect her remaining assets. She would be strategic, not emotional. When she finally drove home, it was late afternoon. Preston's car wasn't in the driveway yet. Tiana went inside and started dinner just like she did every night. She set the table. She changed out of her clothes from the bank and put on jeans and a t-shirt. When Preston came home at 7, she was stirring pasta sauce at the stove. Hey, he said, dropping his briefcase by the door. What's for dinner? Spaghetti. Tiana didn't turn around. She couldn't look at him yet without her face giving everything away. Cool. I'm starving. Tough day at work. He walked past her to the bedroom. Tiana gripped the wooden spoon and focused on her breathing. In and out. Steady. She could do this. She would do this. That night, she lay in bed next to Preston and listened to him snore. She thought about all the nights she'd lain just like this, believing she was safe, believing she was loved, believing her life was what it appeared to be. She'd been wrong about all of it. But she wouldn't be wrong again. The next 3 weeks were the longest of Tiana's life. She woke up every morning next to Preston and pretended everything was normal. She made breakfast. She kissed him goodbye. She went to her teaching job and smiled at her second graders and helped them with their math problems. She came home and made dinner and watched television and went to bed. And all the while, piece by piece, she dismantled her life with him. Wednesday afternoon, she met with her lawyer. His name was Robert Chong and he'd been practicing family law for 20 years. His office was small but organized, with law books lining the walls and a desk covered in neat stacks of files. Tell me everything, he said, and Tiana did. She showed him the emails. The bank statements. The forged loan documents. The entire ugly truth of her marriage laid out in black and white. Robert looked through everything carefully, making notes on a legal pad. When he was done, he sat back in his chair and looked at Tiana seriously. This is bad. For him, I mean. It's very good for you. He tapped his pen against the desk. The affair alone would get you a favorable divorce settlement. But the financial fraud? The forged signature on a loan? That changes everything. What do you mean? I mean your husband has committed multiple crimes. Wire fraud. Identity theft. Forgery. These aren't just civil matters. If we report this to the authorities, he could face criminal charges. Tiana's stomach twisted. I don't know if I want to send him to prison. You don't have to decide that right now. But you need to know your options. Robert leaned forward. Here's what I recommend. First, we secure your assets. You've already opened a separate account, which is good. Now we need to protect everything else. Second, we gather more evidence if possible. The more documentation we have, the stronger your case. Third, we file for divorce and hit him with everything at once. We don't give him time to hide assets or create a defense. How long will that take? If you're ready, we could file by the end of next week. Tiana thought about it. 2 more weeks of pretending. 2 more weeks of lying next to someone who'd been lying to her for years. Could she do it? She had to. What about Brielle? She took money from him. She knew it was stolen from me. That's trickier. We'd need to prove she knew the money wasn't his to give. But the emails help. If we can show she was aware of the fraud, we might be able to go after her too. Robert made another note. For now, focus on Preston. Once we have him dealt with, we can address your stepsister. Tiana left the lawyer's office with a folder full of documents to sign and a timeline for the next month. She sat in her car in the parking lot and let herself cry for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Then she dried her eyes, fixed her makeup, and drove to the grocery store to buy ingredients for dinner. That weekend, Preston announced he had a business trip to Atlanta. He'd be gone from Thursday through Sunday. Tiana helped him pack, folding his shirts carefully, making sure he had everything he needed. "I'll miss you," Preston said before he left, kissing her on the cheek. It was the most affection he'd shown in months. "Miss you too," Tiana lied. The words tasted like ash in her mouth. As soon as his car pulled out of the driveway, Tiana called Jerome. "He's gone. I need to search the house." Jerome and Kia came over within an hour. They brought boxes and rubber gloves and determination. "What are we looking for?" Kia asked. "Anything. More evidence. Hidden accounts. Documents. I don't even know." Tiana opened Preston's office door. "But if it's here, we're going to find it." They searched for 6 hours. Jerome went through Preston's desk, carefully photographing everything before putting it back exactly as it was. Kia examined the financial documents, her accountant's eye-catching discrepancies Tiana had missed. Tiana searched the bedroom, feeling invasive and justified in equal measure. In the back of Preston's closet, hidden under a stack of old sweaters, she found a manila envelope. Inside were bank statements for an account she didn't know existed. The account was in Preston's name only, and it showed regular deposits going back 18 months. Small amounts at first, 500 here, 1,000 there. Then larger sums. 3,000, 5,000, 8,000. The most recent balance showed $42,000. "He's been stealing from me for a year and a half," Tiana said, her voice hollow. "And hiding it in a secret account." "That we can prove," Jerome said grimly. "Take pictures of everything." They found more. Receipts for jewelry Tiana had never seen. Hotel stays she didn't know about. Restaurant bills for expensive dinners for two. A credit card statement for a card in Preston's name with thousands of dollars in charges, spa treatments, designer clothes, luxury goods. All things Preston had never bought for Tiana. "He's been living a whole other life," Kia said softly. "With your money." The worst discovery came when Jerome checked the home equity loan documents more carefully. The $75,000 hadn't gone toward any investment or home improvement. It had been transferred to Preston's secret account, and from there, most of it had been withdrawn in cash over the past 3 months. "Where did it go?" Tiana asked. "Probably to Brielle. Or maybe he's hiding it somewhere for when he files for divorce." Jerome took pictures of the statements. "But we can trace it. Every transaction leaves a trail." By Sunday evening, they'd photographed and documented everything. Jerome and Kia helped Tiana put it all back exactly as they'd found it. When Preston came home Monday morning, nothing would look disturbed. That night, after Jerome and Kia left, Tiana sat in her quiet house and thought about the man she'd married. She'd loved him once. She believed in him. She trusted him with her life, her money, her future. And he'd betrayed her in every possible way. But he'd made one crucial mistake. He'd underestimated her. On Monday, Tiana went to work as usual. During her lunch break, she called her bank and asked about the home equity loan. She explained that her signature had been forged on the documents. The bank representative was immediately concerned and transferred her to the fraud department. "We take identity theft very seriously," the fraud investigator said. "We'll need you to come in and make a formal statement." "What happens then?" "We investigate. If we find evidence of forgery, we report it to the authorities and reverse the loan. The person who forged your signature could face criminal charges." Tiana made an appointment for Wednesday after school. Robert had told her to do this, to create an official record of the fraud before they filed for divorce. Tuesday evening, Preston came home in a good mood. He brought flowers, cheap grocery store roses that were already wilting. "What's this for?" Tiana asked, taking them. "Can't a man buy his wife flowers?" Preston smiled, and for just a second, Tiana saw the man she'd fallen in love with 8 years ago. Charming, attentive, kind. It was all fake. It had probably always been fake. "Thank you," she said, putting them in a vase. "They're lovely." That night, Preston tried to initiate sex for the first time in months. Tiana pretended to have a headache. He seemed relieved, which told her everything she needed to know about where his real interest lay. Wednesday, Tiana went to the bank after school. She met with the fraud investigator and signed statements. She provided copies of her real signature for comparison. The investigator examined the loan documents and frowned. "This is definitely not your signature. We'll start the investigation immediately." "How long will it take?" "A few weeks, maybe a month. But I can tell you right now, this is going to be referred to law enforcement." "Forging someone's signature on a loan this size? That's a felony." Tiana nodded. She felt numb, like she was watching all of this happen to someone else. Thursday morning, she woke up to find Preston already gone. He'd left a note on the kitchen counter: "Breakfast meeting. See you tonight." Tiana crumpled the note and threw it away. Then she called Robert. "I'm ready. File the papers." "Are you sure? Once we start this, there's no going back." "I'm sure." "All right. I'll have the divorce petition ready by tomorrow. We'll serve him on Monday." Friday afternoon, Tiana left school early and drove to her father's house. She hadn't told him anything yet about Preston or Brielle or any of it. She'd been dreading this conversation. Her father lived in the same small house where Tiana had grown up, the house he'd shared with her mother before cancer took her 20 years ago. He'd remarried Carol 10 years later, and that's when everything changed. Carol had moved in with Brielle, who was 16 at the time, and suddenly Tiana's childhood home felt like enemy territory. "Tiana, what a surprise." Her father opened the door with a smile. "Carol and Brielle are out shopping. Just me here." "Good. I need to talk to you alone." They sat in the living room and Tiana told him everything. The engagement party, the affair, the stolen money, the forged signature. She watched her father's face go from confused to shocked to furious. "That son of a dash," he stood up, pacing. "I'll kill him." "And Brielle? She was part of this." "For 2 years, Dad." Her father sat back down heavily. "Carol, did she know?" "I don't know. I haven't found any evidence of that." But even as she said it, Tiana wondered. Carol had always favored Brielle, always treated Tiana like an inconvenience. Would she have encouraged the affair if she'd known? Would she have helped them hide it? "I'm filing for divorce on Monday. I wanted you to hear it from me first." Her father reached over and took her hand. "I'm so sorry, baby girl. I should have seen it. I should have protected you. It's not your fault." But part of Tiana wondered if it was just a little. If her father had stood up to Carol more, if he'd insisted that Tiana be treated as an equal part of the family, maybe things would have been different. Or maybe Preston would have been a cheating thief regardless. Some people were just wired that way. "What can I do?" her father asked. "Just be there. I'm going to need family who actually cares about me. Always. You know that." Tiana drove home as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. In 2 days, everything would change. Preston would be served with divorce papers. The truth would come out. There would be anger and accusations and probably more pain than Tiana could imagine right now. But she was ready. That weekend, Tiana cleaned the entire house. She did laundry and grocery shopping and meal prep for the week. She acted like a woman who had no idea her marriage was about to explode. Preston spent most of Saturday on his phone, texting and laughing at private jokes Tiana wasn't part of. Sunday he watched football and drank beer and barely spoke to her. Monday morning, Tiana got dressed for work in a navy blue suit, professional, confident, ready. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. This Tiana was harder than the one who'd attended that engagement party 3 weeks ago. This Tiana knew the truth about the people around her. "You look nice," Preston said, coming into the bathroom. "Important meeting?" "Something like that." Tiana applied lipstick carefully. "You have a good day." "You too." They were so good at lying to each other now. Tiana kissed him on the cheek and walked out the door. She had no idea it would be the last time she'd kiss her husband goodbye. She was 3 blocks away when Robert called. "The process server is at his office now. It's done." Tiana pulled over to the side of the road and sat there for a moment, her hands gripping the steering wheel. It was done. She'd just blown up her entire life. And somehow she felt more free than she had in years. The call came at 11:30. Tiana was in the middle of a reading lesson with her second graders when her phone vibrated in her pocket. She ignored it. Then it vibrated again. And again. "Miss Brooks?" One of her students, a little girl named Aisha, raised her hand. "Are you okay?" Tiana realized she'd been staring at the same page of the picture book for 30 seconds without reading. She forced a smile. "I'm fine, sweetheart. Just thinking about the story. Now, what do you think the rabbit is going to do next?" The lesson continued, but Tiana's mind was elsewhere. Those phone calls were probably Preston. He'd been served by now. He knew. She made it through the rest of the school day on autopilot. When the final bell rang and the kids rushed out to their parents, Tiana checked her phone. 14 missed calls. All from Preston. And 6 text messages that grew increasingly angry. What the hell is this? You served me at my office? In front of my boss? Call me now, you're making a huge mistake, we need to talk. Tiana didn't call back. Robert had told her not to engage, not to explain, not to defend herself. Let the lawyers handle everything. She drove home slowly, taking the long way through quiet neighborhoods. She needed time to think, to prepare. Would Preston be home? Would he be angry? Violent? That last thought made her pull over and call Jerome. He was served this morning. Can you come to the house? I don't want to be alone with him. I'm already on my way, Jerome said. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Don't go in without me. Tiana waited in her car down the street from her house. She could see Preston's car in the driveway. He was home. She watched the front door, her heart hammering, wondering what was happening inside. Jerome pulled up behind her in his truck. He got out and came to her window. You ready for this? No. But I don't have a choice. They walked to the house together. Jerome was tall and broad-shouldered, a construction worker who could handle himself if things got physical. Tiana had never been so grateful for her brother. The front door was unlocked. They walked in to find Preston pacing in the living room, still in his work clothes, his tie loosened, his hair disheveled. He looked up when they entered, his face red with rage. Finally. Where have you been? I've been calling for hours. Then he saw Jerome. What's he doing here? I asked him to come, Tiana said quietly. She stayed near the door, ready to run if needed. So what, you need protection from your own husband now? According to these papers, you're not going to be my husband much longer. Preston's face twisted. You can't be serious with this. Divorce? Because of what? Brielle's engagement party? So she threw your gift away. Get over it. This isn't about the party. Tiana's voice was steady despite the trembling in her hands. This is about you sleeping with my stepsister for 2 years. This is about you stealing money from our accounts. This is about you forging my signature on a $75,000 loan. Preston went very still. What are you talking about? Don't. Tiana pulled out her phone and held it up. I have the emails, Preston. All of them. 2 years of messages between you and Brielle. I have the bank statements showing where our money went. I have the loan documents with my forged signature. I have everything. The color drained from Preston's face. For a long moment, no one spoke. You went through my computer, he finally said. You stole from me. That money was ours. It was in a joint account. Money you took without telling me and gave to your mistress. Tiana's voice rose. Money I earned. Money we were supposed to be saving for our future. Except you didn't care about our future because you were planning to leave me anyway. That's not dash, Preston started, then stopped. He couldn't deny it. It's complicated. It's really not. You're a cheater and a thief. Preston's expression hardened. You have no idea what you're doing. You really want to go to war with me? You'll lose everything. I already lost everything when I married you. I will ruin you, Preston hissed. I know people. I have resources. You're a school teacher making $35,000 a year. You think you can afford a divorce lawyer? You think you can fight me? I don't have to fight you, Tiana said. The evidence speaks for itself. And by the way, the bank is investigating the forged loan. They're very interested in pressing charges. Preston's face went white. You reported it to the bank? Of course I did. You committed fraud. Did you think I was just going to let that go? You stupid dash. Preston took a step toward her, his fists clenched, and Jerome moved forward immediately, placing himself between them. That's enough, Jerome said quietly. You don't want to do something you'll regret. Get out of my house, Preston snarled. It's not your house. It's in both our names. And soon it's going to be just Tiana's name. Jerome crossed his arms. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to pack a bag and leave. Tonight. I'm not going anywhere. Yes, you are. Tiana found strength in her brother's presence. Because if you stay, I'm calling the police and filing a restraining order. And then tomorrow, I'm calling your boss and telling him all about the affair, the theft, and the fraud. I wonder how your company will feel about keeping an employee who's facing criminal charges. It was a bluff. Tiana had no intention of calling Preston's boss, but Preston didn't know that. You're bluffing. Try me. They stared at each other, years of marriage and lies and betrayal hanging in the air between them. Preston looked away first. Fine. I'll pack a bag. But this isn't over. You're making a huge mistake. The only mistake I made was trusting you. Preston stomped to the bedroom. Tiana could hear him banging around, throwing things into a suitcase. Jerome stayed close to her, his presence a solid comfort. You did good, Jerome said quietly. I know this is hard. It's not hard. It's necessary. There's a difference. 20 minutes later, Preston emerged with a suitcase and his laptop bag. He stopped at the front door and looked back at Tiana. The affair with Brielle was a mistake. I know that. But we could fix this. We could go to counseling. Start over. For just a second, Tiana felt a flicker of something, not love, not anymore, but maybe nostalgia for who they used to be before everything went wrong. Then she thought about those emails. The things he'd said about her. The way he'd laughed while stealing from her. The way he'd stood silent at that party while she was humiliated. No, she said. We couldn't. Preston's expression hardened. Then I hope you're ready for what comes next. Because I'm not going to make this easy. I didn't expect you to. He walked out, slamming the door behind him. Tiana watched through the window as he threw his suitcase in his car and drove away, tires squealing. When his car disappeared around the corner, Tiana's legs gave out. She sat down hard on the couch, her whole body shaking. Jerome sat next to her and put his arm around her shoulders. You okay? I don't know. Ask me in a year. They sat there in silence for a while. Then Tiana's phone rang. It was Robert. I heard from Preston's lawyer. They want to meet to discuss settlement terms. Already? He scared Tiana. He knows you have him dead to rights on the fraud charges. My guess is he's going to try to settle quickly to avoid criminal prosecution. What do you think I should do? That depends. Do you want revenge or resolution? Tiana thought about it. A month ago she would have said resolution. She would have wanted this over quickly with minimal drama. But that was before she knew the truth. Before she understood how completely Preston had betrayed her. I want everything I'm owed. Every dollar he stole. And I want him to face consequences for the forgery. Then we're going to trial. And we're going to win. After Robert hung up, Tiana made another call. This one to her stepmother Carol. Tiana, I heard you and Preston are having some trouble. These things happen in marriage. I'm sure you can work it out. I'm divorcing him, Carol. And you should know that Brielle has been sleeping with him for 2 years. Silence on the other end of the line. That's a very serious accusation, Carol finally said, her voice tight. It's not an accusation. It's a fact. I have emails. I have proof. Brielle and Preston have been having an affair, and he's been giving her money, my money, the entire time. Brielle would never dash. Brielle did. And you know what? I think you knew. I think you encouraged it. How dare you? I have been nothing but kind to you. Kind? You've treated me like garbage since the day you married my father. And Brielle learned from the best. You ungrateful little dash, Carol caught herself. Your father will hear about this. Good. I'm telling him anyway. And Carol? Stay away from me. You and Brielle both. You're not welcome in my life anymore. Tiana hung up before Carol could respond. Her hands were shaking again, but this time it felt like triumph instead of fear. Jerome looked at her with something like pride. That felt good, didn't it? Yeah, it really did. That night, Tiana changed the locks on the house. She didn't care if it was technically their shared property. She wasn't giving Preston access to her home anymore. Let his lawyer complain about it in court. She also called her father and told him everything, including her conversation with Carol. He was silent for a long time after she finished. I knew Carol was cold to you. I didn't realize. I should have done something. It's not your fault, Dad. Maybe not. But I'm going to make it right. I'm going to have a conversation with my wife. The next day, Tiana went to work and tried to focus on teaching. Her students needed her to be present, to be the steady, caring teacher they relied on. She couldn't let her personal problems affect them. But between lessons, she checked her phone constantly. Preston's lawyer had sent a settlement offer. Tiana would keep the house but would be responsible for the full mortgage. They'd split the remaining joint account funds 50-50. And Preston would pay her nothing for the money he'd stolen or the forged loan. Robert called it insulting and drafted a counteroffer. Tiana would keep the house. Preston would be responsible for the entire home equity loan since he'd forged her signature to get it. He would repay every dollar he'd stolen from their accounts, plus interest. And he would agree to cooperate with the criminal investigation into the forgery. He'll never agree to that, Tiana said. Then we'll see him in court. And the prosecutor will see him in criminal court. Robert sounded almost cheerful. Trust me, Tiana. You have all the power here. He just doesn't know it yet. Over the next week, Preston's lawyer tried to negotiate. The offers got slightly better. Preston would take on half the loan, or he'd pay back some of the stolen money, but never good enough. Robert rejected every one. He's going to have to face this eventually, Robert said. The longer he delays, the worse it gets for him. Tiana believed him. But part of her wondered what would happen when Preston finally realized he couldn't win. She found out 2 weeks later. She came home from work to find her front door kicked in, hanging off its hinges. The house had been ransacked. Drawers pulled out, papers scattered everywhere, furniture overturned. Tiana stood in her destroyed living room and called the police. When the officers arrived, she explained about the divorce, the affair, the theft. She showed them the threatening texts Preston had sent after she'd changed the locks. She told them he'd broken in looking for something, probably evidence she had against him. Did he find anything? One officer asked. No. Everything important is backed up in the cloud and with my lawyer. They filed a report and told her to get a restraining order. They talked to Preston about the break-in, but unless there was clear evidence he'd done it, there wasn't much they could do. Tiana called Jerome, who came over with plywood to board up the door until she could get it fixed. Then she called Robert. File for the restraining order, Robert said immediately. And I'll make sure Preston's lawyer knows about this. If he thinks intimidation will work, he's wrong. It's just going to make things worse for him in court. That night, Tiana slept at Jerome's house. She couldn't stay in her own home, not after Preston had violated it so completely. But as she lay in Jerome's guest room, unable to sleep, Tiana realized something. She wasn't afraid anymore. She was angry. And angry was so much better than sad. The restraining order was granted 3 days later. Preston was ordered to stay at least 500 feet away from Tiana, her workplace, and her home. He couldn't call, text, or contact her through any means except through his lawyer. Tiana should have felt safer. Instead, she felt trapped in a nightmare that kept getting worse. The morning after the restraining order was filed, she woke up at Jerome's house to 17 missed calls from Carol. Tiana ignored them and got ready for work. But when she checked her email, she found a long message from her stepmother. The subject line read, "Destroying this family." Tiana almost deleted it without reading. But something made her open it. Tiana, I don't know what lies Preston told you or what misunderstandings have led to this situation, but you need to stop this divorce immediately. Preston is a good man who made a mistake. Brielle is devastated by your accusations. She's been crying for days. Yes, she and Preston developed feelings for each other, but nothing physical ever happened. They were just friends who got too close emotionally. That's not a crime. You're tearing this family apart over nothing. Your father is caught in the middle, and I won't allow you to ruin my marriage because you're hurt about yours. Drop the divorce. Go to counseling with Preston. Be the bigger person for once in your life instead of playing the victim. If you continue down this path, you'll regret it. Brielle has friends in this city. People who can make your life very difficult. I suggest you think carefully about what you're doing. Tiana read the email twice. Then she forwarded it to Robert with a note. Is this a threat? Robert called her back within 10 minutes. Yes, it's absolutely a threat. And it's evidence. Save it. Print it. We might need it. She's saying the affair was just emotional. Which contradicts the explicit emails between Preston and Brielle. They're trying to downplay it now that they realize you have proof. And the part about Brielle having friends who can make my life difficult? That's witness intimidation. I'm going to have a conversation with Preston's lawyer about this. That afternoon, Tiana received a call from the principal of her school, Mrs. Patterson. She asked Tiana to come to her office during her planning period. Tiana's stomach dropped. This couldn't be good. Mrs. Patterson was in her late 50s, a career educator who ran the school with efficiency and fairness. She gestured for Tiana to sit down and close the door. Tiana, I received a phone call this morning from a woman named Carol Walker. She said she's your stepmother? Yes. Tiana's hands clenched in her lap. She expressed concerns about your mental stability. She said you've been making wild accusations against your husband, that you're going through a difficult divorce and might not be fit to teach right now. Blood rushed to Tiana's ears. That's not true. I didn't think it was. But I have to ask, is everything okay? Are you going through a divorce? Tiana took a deep breath. She kept her personal problems quiet at work, not wanting them to affect her professional life. But clearly that wasn't an option anymore. Yes, I'm getting divorced. My husband was having an affair with my stepsister and stealing money from our accounts. I have evidence of everything. Carol is calling you because she wants to intimidate me into dropping the divorce. Mrs. Patterson listened carefully. When Tiana finished, she nodded. I thought it might be something like that. For the record, I've seen no change in your teaching performance. Your students love you and your lesson plans are excellent. If anything, you seem more focused this year than last. Relief flooded through Tiana. Thank you. However, I do need to document this conversation. If Carol or anyone else contacts the school again, I'll handle it directly. But Tiana, if you're going through something difficult, you can talk to me. We have resources available. I'm okay. I have family supporting me and a good lawyer. I just need to get through this. Then you will. You're stronger than you think. That evening, Tiana met with her father at a coffee shop. She'd asked him to come alone without Carol. He looked tired when he walked in, older than his 60 years. He hugged Tiana tightly before they sat down. Carol is furious with you, he said. She says you're lying about Brielle and Preston. I'm not lying, Dad. I have proof. I know you do. That's what I told her. He sighed. I asked Carol directly if she knew about the affair. She denied it at first. Then she said even if there was something between Preston and Brielle, it wasn't her place to tell you. She said it was your problem to solve in your marriage. Tiana felt sick. So she did know. Apparently. And she didn't think it was important enough to mention to me or to you. Her father's voice was bitter. I've been married to her for 10 years, and I'm just now realizing I don't know her at all. I'm sorry, Dad. Don't be sorry. I'm the one who should apologize. I brought Carol and Brielle into our lives. I should have paid more attention to how they treated you. You were lonely after Mom died. You wanted companionship. I don't blame you for that. They sat in silence for a moment, drinking their coffee. Carol called your school, Tiana said quietly. Her father's head snapped up. She what? She told my principal I was mentally unstable and making wild accusations. She tried to get me in trouble at work. That's it. Her father stood up abruptly. I'm done. I've tried to be understanding, tried to believe there was some explanation, but that's too far. Dad dash. No, Tiana. She went after your job. She's trying to destroy your life to protect Brielle. That's not someone I can stay married to. You don't have to divorce her because of me. I'm not doing it because of you. I'm doing it because she's shown me who she really is, and I don't like what I see. Her father sat back down. I'm going to file for divorce. I'm going to make sure you get everything you need to fight Preston. And I'm going to make it very clear to Carol and Brielle that they're not welcome in our family anymore. Tiana felt tears prick her eyes. Thank you. I should have done this a long time ago. 2 days later, Tiana got another call. This time from Brielle. We need to talk, Brielle said without preamble. Her voice was cold. I have nothing to say to you. Well, I have plenty to say to you. Meet me at the Starbucks on 5th Street. 1 hour. No. Yes. Unless you want me to show up at your school. I know where you work. Tiana's jaw clenched. Fine. 1 hour. But I'm bringing someone with me. She called Jerome, who agreed to come immediately. When they arrived at the Starbucks, Brielle was already there, sitting at a corner table in designer sunglasses and an outfit that probably cost more than Tiana's monthly salary. You brought backup, Brielle said, sneering at Jerome. How pathetic. You threatened to show up at my workplace. I'm being careful. Brielle took off her sunglasses and leaned forward. Up close, Tiana could see she looked tired, her makeup not quite covering the dark circles under her eyes. You need to drop this divorce, Brielle said. You're ruining everything. I'm ruining everything? You had an affair with my husband. So what? You weren't making him happy anyway. He needed someone who actually understood him. Jerome started to stand up, but Tiana put a hand on his arm. Is that what you tell yourself? Tiana asked quietly. That you were doing me a favor? I was doing both of us a favor. You and Preston were never right for each other. You're too boring, too safe. He needed excitement. Then he should have divorced me before sleeping with you. Brielle waved a hand dismissively. Details. The point is, if you continue with this divorce and these accusations, you're going to make my life very difficult. Mom already kicked me out because Dad won't stop yelling about the affair. I don't have anywhere to live. That's not my problem. It will be when I sue you for defamation. You've been telling people I'm a homewrecker and a thief. That's slander. Tiana pulled out her phone and placed it on the table. Everything I've said about you is true and I have evidence. The emails prove the affair. The bank statements prove Preston gave you money that he stole from me. You want to sue me? Go ahead. I'll show the judge everything. Brielle's confidence faltered. Preston said you were bluffing about having proof. Preston lied. Shocking, I know. This isn't fair. I love him. We're supposed to be together. Then be together. I'm not stopping you. I'm just making sure he pays for what he stole from me. He didn't steal anything. That money was his too. Not legally. We were married, but that doesn't give him the right to drain our accounts and give the money to you without telling me. And it definitely doesn't give him the right to forge my signature on a loan. Brielle's face went pale. He told me you signed that loan. He said you knew about it. He lied to you too. They stared at each other across the table. For just a second, Tiana saw something in Brielle's expression, doubt, maybe, or the first stirrings of realization. He used you, Tiana said quietly. Just like he used me. The difference is I'm getting out. I don't believe you. Preston loves me. He said we'd be together as soon as the divorce was final. Then I guess you'll find out if he's telling the truth. Brielle grabbed her purse and stood up. You're going to regret this. Both of you. She pointed at Jerome. My mom has lawyers. Real ones. Not whatever cut-rate attorney you hired. We're going to destroy you in court. Your mom doesn't have lawyers, Jerome said calmly. She has the phone number of a real estate attorney she used once. And unless she's willing to spend $50,000 fighting a case she'll lose, she's not going to do anything. Brielle stormed out, leaving her coffee untouched on the table. That went well, Jerome said dryly. She's scared. They all are. They know I have them. That night, Carol called Tiana. Against her better judgment, Tiana answered. I hope you're happy, Carol said without greeting. Your father is filing for divorce. He's blaming me for everything like I forced Preston and Brielle together. I didn't. They fell in love naturally. Naturally. While Preston was married to me. You're so sanctimonious. Like you're perfect. You ignored Preston's needs for years. You were so focused on your teaching job and your perfect little life that you didn't see he was unhappy. So instead of telling me he had an affair and stole from me. He didn't steal. He took money from an account that was half his. Legally, maybe. But morally? He committed fraud. And you know what? I don't care about your rationalizations. You knew about the affair and said nothing. You encouraged Brielle to throw my gift in the trash at her party. You've treated me like garbage since the day you married my dad. So no, Carol, I'm not sorry your life is falling apart. You earned this. I tried to be good to you. I tried to include you in this family. You tried to make me disappear. There's a difference. Tiana hung up before Carol could respond. Her hands were shaking, but she felt powerful in a way she'd never felt before. She'd spent years being quiet, being accommodating, trying to keep the peace. She was done with that. The next day, Robert called with news. The bank finished their investigation. Preston definitely forged your signature on the loan. They're referring the case to the district attorney's office. He's going to be charged with fraud and identity theft. What does that mean? It means criminal charges. If he's convicted, he could face up to 5 years in prison. More likely, he'll take a plea deal, probation, restitution, community service. But either way, he'll have a criminal record. Good. There's more. Preston's employer found out about the charges. They terminated him effective immediately. Apparently, they have a zero-tolerance policy for fraud. Tiana absorbed this. Preston had lost his job. His career in finance was probably over. He was facing criminal charges. His affair was public knowledge. His life was falling apart. She should have felt sorry for him. She didn't. What happens next? She asked. We continue with the divorce proceedings. Preston's lawyer is pushing for a quick settlement now. Preston can't afford a long legal battle without a job. My guess is we'll have this wrapped up in the next month or two. And the criminal case? That's separate. The DA will handle it. But your testimony and evidence will be crucial. After Robert hung up, Tiana sat in her classroom during her planning period and thought about everything that had happened in the past month. Her marriage was over. Her stepfamily was imploding. Preston was facing criminal charges. It was a mess. But it was also the beginning of something new. For the first time in years, Tiana felt like she could breathe. The district attorney's office moved faster than Tiana expected. 3 weeks after the bank referred Preston's case, he was formally charged with 2 counts of identity theft and 1 count of fraud. The charges carried a maximum sentence of 15 years, though Robert explained that first-time offenders rarely got more than probation if they accepted a plea deal. The DA wants to meet with you, Robert told Tiana over the phone. They need your testimony and the evidence you've collected. Tiana met with Assistant District Attorney Sonia Martinez in her office downtown. Sonia was in her early 40s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor that immediately made Tiana feel confident. "Tell me everything," Sonia said, and Tiana did. She explained the affair, the stolen money, the forged loan documents. She showed Sonia the emails, the bank statements, everything. Sonia took notes and asked clarifying questions. "This is a strong case," Sonia said when Tiana finished. "Preston clearly committed fraud. The evidence is overwhelming. My question is, what do you want out of this?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, some people want to see their ex-spouse in prison. Others just want restitution and to move on. What matters to you?" Tiana thought about it. A month ago she would have said she just wanted this over with. But now, after everything Preston had done, after the break-in and the threats and the way he tried to destroy her, "I want him to face consequences," Tiana said. "Real ones. Not just a slap on the wrist. Then we'll push for jail time. It probably won't be much, maybe 6 months, possibly suspended with probation. But he'll have a criminal record. He'll have to pay restitution. And he'll think twice before committing fraud again." "What about Brielle?" Sonia checked her notes. "Your stepsister received money from Preston. But proving she knew it was stolen money is harder. Unless we have evidence she was directly involved in the fraud." "The emails," Tiana said. "She knew Preston was taking money from our accounts. She even asked him for specific amounts." "Let me see those again." Tiana pulled up the emails on her phone and showed them to Sonia. One in particular was damning. Brielle had texted Preston, "I need $5,000 for my credit card. Can you transfer it from the account T doesn't check?" Sonia's eyebrows rose. That's conspiracy to commit fraud. She knew he was taking money from an account that wasn't entirely his to drain. "Can you charge her too?" "Maybe. Let me talk to my supervisor. It depends on how aggressive we want to be." 2 days later, Brielle was also charged with conspiracy to commit fraud and receiving stolen property. The charges were less serious than Preston's, but they still carried potential jail time. Tiana found out when her father called her, upset. "Carol is losing her mind," he said. "She's blaming you for getting Brielle arrested." "Brielle got herself arrested by taking stolen money." "I know that. You know that. Carol doesn't see it that way." "How are you doing, Dad?" Her father sighed. "I'm okay. Moving out was harder than I thought it would be. But I'm staying at the extended stay near the highway until the divorce is final. You can stay with me. I have a spare bedroom." "I appreciate that, baby girl. But I think you need your space right now. This is your time to rebuild your life without having to worry about your old man." They talked for a while longer, and Tiana felt grateful for her father's presence in her life. He'd made mistakes, but he was trying to make them right. That mattered. The next development came from Preston's lawyer. He wanted to meet to discuss a settlement, not just for the divorce but for the criminal charges too. "Preston is willing to accept a plea deal," Robert explained to Tiana over coffee. "He'll plead guilty to the fraud charges in exchange for probation and restitution. No jail time." "What about the divorce settlement?" "He's offering everything. Full restitution of the stolen money plus interest. He takes full responsibility for the fraudulent loan. You keep the house and your car. He pays your attorney fees." "What's the catch?" "No catch. He's desperate. He lost his job, he's facing criminal charges, and he knows he has no legal standing. He's trying to minimize the damage." Tiana thought about it. Part of her wanted to push for jail time, to make Preston suffer the way she'd suffered. But another part of her just wanted this over. She wanted to move on with her life. "What does Sonia say about the plea deal?" "She's willing to accept it if you are. Preston would still have a criminal record. He'd be on probation for 2 years, and he'd have to pay restitution. It's not prison, but it's serious consequences." "And Brielle?" "Separate case. She's also trying to negotiate a plea deal." "What's she offering?" "She'll plead guilty to receiving stolen property. Probation, restitution to you for the money she received, and community service." Tiana made her decision. "I'll accept Preston's plea deal on one condition. He has to admit publicly what he did. Not just in court. I want him to tell his family, his friends, everyone. I want people to know the truth." Robert nodded. "I'll make that part of the agreement." The plea hearing was scheduled for 2 weeks later. In the meantime, Tiana focused on work and on rebuilding her life. She'd started seeing a therapist, Dr. Chin, who specialized in helping people recover from betrayal and trauma. "You're doing remarkably well," Dr. Chin said during one of their sessions. "Most people in your situation struggle with self-blame or depression." "I didn't have a choice." "We always have a choice. You chose to fight back instead of accepting what was happening to you. That takes real strength. Tiana wasn't sure about that. Most days she still felt broken, like a vase that had been glued back together but would never be quite right again. But she was functional. She was surviving. That had to count for something. The day of the plea hearing, Tiana wore her navy blue suit and sat in the courtroom between Robert and Jerome. Preston sat at the defendant's table with his lawyer, looking smaller than she remembered. Brielle was also there, waiting for her own hearing. Judge Hartman was a severe-looking woman in her 60s who clearly had no patience for fraud cases. She listened as the prosecutor outlined Preston's crimes, then looked at Preston directly. "Mr. Walker, you've agreed to plead guilty to 1 count of identity theft and 1 count of fraud. Is that correct?" "Yes, Your Honor." Preston's voice was barely audible. "Do you understand that by pleading guilty you're admitting you committed these crimes?" "Yes, Your Honor." "And you understand the terms of your plea agreement?" 2 years probation, restitution of $127,000 to Mrs. Walker, 500 hours of community service, and a permanent criminal record." "Yes, Your Honor." Judge Hartman reviewed the agreement, then looked at Preston with clear distaste. "Mr. Walker, you stole from your wife. You forged her signature on legal documents. You betrayed her trust in the most fundamental way. The only reason you're not going to prison is because Mrs. Walker has agreed to accept this plea deal. I hope you understand how fortunate you are." "I do, Your Honor." "I doubt it, but you will. Bailiff, take him to complete the necessary paperwork." Preston was led away. He glanced back at Tiana once, his expression unreadable. She stared back at him, her face blank. She felt nothing looking at him now. No anger, no sadness. Just a vague sense of relief that it was almost over. Brielle's hearing was next. She pleaded guilty to receiving stolen property and was sentenced to 1 year of probation, restitution of $32,000 to Tiana, and 300 hours of community service. When it was over, Robert turned to Tiana with a smile. "That's it. The criminal cases are done. What about the divorce? We have a hearing scheduled for next month to finalize everything. But it's just a formality at this point. Preston has agreed to all our terms." Tiana nodded. She'd expected to feel triumphant, victorious. Instead, she just felt tired. That evening, Jerome and Kia took her out to dinner to celebrate. They went to a nice Italian restaurant and ordered wine and pasta and breadsticks. To Tiana, Jerome said, raising his glass, "The strongest person I know." "I don't feel strong," Tiana admitted. "That's because real strength doesn't feel like strength when you're living it," Kia said. "It just feels like survival." "But you did more than survive, Tiana. You fought back. You protected yourself. You made sure Preston faced consequences. That takes incredible courage. I couldn't have done it without you too." "Maybe not. But you're the one who had the courage to leave. A lot of people stay in bad situations because they're scared of what comes next. You didn't." They ate and talked and laughed, and for a little while Tiana felt almost normal. But as the evening wore on, she felt that familiar emptiness creeping back in. The case was over. Preston was out of her life. She'd won. So why did she still feel so hollow? Dr. Chin had warned her about this. When you're in crisis mode, you're focused on survival. But when the crisis ends, all the emotions you've been suppressing come flooding back. That's when the real healing begins. Tiana was starting to understand what she meant. That night, alone in her house for the first time since changing the locks, Tiana walked through each room. The master bedroom where she'd slept next to Preston for 3 years, not knowing he was planning to leave her. The home office where she'd discovered the truth. The kitchen where she'd made countless dinners for a man who didn't respect her. She'd won the house in the divorce. She'd won everything, really. But standing in these rooms, she realized she didn't want them anymore. They were tainted by too many bad memories. She would sell the house. Start completely fresh. Build a life that had nothing to do with Preston or Brielle or any of the pain they'd caused. But first, she had one more thing to do. The next day, Tiana called Carol. "What do you want?" Carol's voice was cold and bitter. "I wanted to let you know that Dad signed the divorce papers. It's final." "I know. I got the notification from my lawyer. I also wanted to say that I'm sorry things ended this way. I never wanted to break up your marriage. But you did. You and your father decided to blame me and Brielle for everything when all we did was dash." "Stop." Tiana's voice was firm. "I'm not calling to argue. I'm calling to tell you that I forgive you." Silence on the other end. "I forgive you," Tiana repeated. "For everything. For treating me like I didn't belong. For encouraging Brielle's affair with Preston. For trying to sabotage my career. I forgive you because holding on to anger is only hurting me. I don't need your forgiveness. Maybe not. But I need to give it. I need to let go of all of this and move forward. Well, good for you, Carol said bitterly. I'm glad you feel so virtuous. Meanwhile, my daughter and I are both on probation and broke because of you. No, Carol. You're broke because you and Brielle made bad choices. I didn't do this to you. You did this to yourselves. Tiana hung up before Carol could respond. She knew the call wouldn't change anything. Carol would never take responsibility for her actions. But that was okay. Tiana didn't need Carol's acknowledgement. She just needed to release the hold Carol and Brielle had on her life. She was done being angry. Done being hurt. Done letting them live rent-free in her head. It was time to move forward. 6 weeks after the plea hearings, Tiana sat in her living room surrounded by business plans and legal documents. She'd made a decision that surprised even her. She was going to start her own business. The idea had come from an unexpected source. One of the teachers at her school, Angela, had approached her in the break room. I heard about what happened with your ex-husband, Angela said quietly. I know that's probably uncomfortable to talk about, but I wanted to ask you something. How did you figure out he was stealing from you? How did you protect yourself? Tiana had explained about the bank statements, the separate accounts, the evidence gathering. Angela had listened intently. I think my husband might be doing something similar, Angela finally admitted. Money keeps disappearing from our account, and he won't tell me where it's going. I don't know what to do. Tiana spent her entire lunch break helping Angela. She showed her how to check transaction histories, how to look for irregularities, how to protect her assets. When they were done, Angela hugged her. You probably saved me years of pain. Thank you. That night, Tiana couldn't stop thinking about the conversation. How many other women were in situations like hers? How many didn't know how to protect themselves financially? How many stayed in bad relationships because they didn't understand their options? She called Jerome. I have an idea. I'm listening. What if I started a business helping women protect their financial assets? Like a consulting service for women who think their partners might be hiding money or committing fraud. That's brilliant. You've literally just lived through it. You know exactly what to look for and what to do. I need help. I'm not an accountant or a lawyer. No, but Kia is an accountant. And you could partner with lawyers for the legal side. You'd be the face of the business, the person who understands what these women are going through. The more Tiana thought about it, the more sense it made. She had $50,000 from her grandmother's inheritance. Instead of just sitting on it or using it for expenses, she could invest it in something meaningful. Something that could help other women avoid what she'd gone through. She spent the next 2 weeks researching. She looked into business licenses, insurance, marketing strategies. She talked to Kia about joining as a business partner. Kia was immediately interested. I've been wanting to leave my corporate job anyway, Kia said. This could be perfect. We could offer financial planning services specifically for women in vulnerable situations. Asset protection, divorce planning, fraud detection. They decided to call the business Guardian Financial Services. The tagline, Protecting Women's Financial Futures. Tiana used $20,000 of her inheritance to get the business started. They rented a small office space in a good location near downtown. They hired a lawyer to help with business formation and contracts. They designed a website and business cards. And they started reaching out to their networks, letting people know about the new service. The response was overwhelming. Within the first week, they had 3 clients. Women who'd heard about Tiana's story through the grapevine and wanted help protecting themselves. By the end of the first month, they had 15 clients. Each client had a similar story. A husband or partner who was secretive about money. Unexplained expenses. Assets that seemed to disappear. Women who knew something was wrong but didn't know how to prove it or protect themselves. Tiana and Kia developed a system. First, they'd meet with the client and hear their story. Then Kia would do a thorough financial analysis, looking for irregularities. Tiana would help the client understand their legal options and connect them with divorce lawyers if needed. Together, they'd create a plan to protect the client's assets and, if necessary, gather evidence of fraud. It was deeply satisfying work. Tiana was using her own painful experience to help other women avoid the same fate. She was turning her trauma into something positive. You're really good at this, Kia told her after a particularly difficult client meeting. You have this way of making women feel heard and understood. Like they're not crazy for suspecting their partner of wrongdoing. Because I've been there. I know what it's like to think you're paranoid when really you're just seeing the truth. The business grew steadily. By the 3rd month, they were profitable. By the 6th month, They had to hire additional staff, another accountant and a part-time administrative assistant. Word spread through women's networks, through divorce support groups, through therapists who recommended their services. Guardian Financial became known as the place women could go when they needed help protecting themselves. Tiana still taught part-time, not quite ready to give up her classroom completely. But she reduced her hours to focus more on the business. Her principal was supportive, understanding that Tiana had found a new calling. "You're doing important work," Mrs. Patterson told her. "These women need what you're offering." Not everything was smooth sailing. There were challenges, clients who waited too long to get help, cases where the evidence was too well hidden, situations where the fraud was so extensive it seemed impossible to untangle. But there were victories too. Women who left abusive relationships with their finances intact. Fraud cases that led to criminal charges. Assets recovered. Lives rebuilt. One client in particular stayed with Tiana. Her name was Patricia, a woman in her 50s who'd been married for 30 years. Her husband had secretly taken out loans against their house, drained their retirement accounts and transferred assets to offshore accounts. "I trusted him completely," Patricia said during their first meeting, tears streaming down her face. "I thought we were partners. I thought we were building a life together." Tiana and Kia worked Patricia's case for 2 months. They found the hidden accounts. They traced the transfers. They built an airtight case that Patricia's lawyer used to secure a favorable divorce settlement. When it was over, Patricia came to their office with a gift basket and a card that read, "You gave me my life back. I can never thank you enough." That card went on the wall of Tiana's office. It was a reminder of why this work mattered. By the end of the first year, Guardian Financial had helped over 300 women. They'd recovered millions of dollars in stolen or hidden assets. They'd provided evidence that led to multiple fraud convictions. And Tiana had healed. Not completely, she still had bad days, days when she thought about Preston's betrayal and felt that familiar ache in her chest. But most days she felt strong, purposeful, like she'd taken something terrible and transformed it into something good. She'd also made peace with her father. They had dinner once a week now, just the two of them. He'd moved into a small apartment and seemed happier than he'd been in years. "I should have left Carol sooner," he admitted over lasagna one evening. "I knew she made you uncomfortable, but I convinced myself it would get better. I was wrong. You were trying to build a family. I understand that. Still, I should have protected you better. You're protecting me now. That's what matters." Carol and Brielle had largely disappeared from their lives. Tiana occasionally heard updates through mutual friends. Carol had moved to Arizona to live with her sister. Brielle was working in retail and living with a roommate, struggling to pay her restitution. Tiana felt a twinge of sympathy for them, but not enough to reach out. Some bridges were better left burned. As for Preston, she'd heard he'd moved to another state and was working in sales. The financial industry wanted nothing to do with someone with a fraud conviction. He was still making his monthly restitution payments, though his lawyer had tried several times to get the amount reduced. Robert had rejected every attempt. "He owes you that money," Robert said. "And he's going to pay every penny." Tiana agreed. She wasn't being vindictive, she just believed in consequences. Preston had made choices and now he was living with them. Just like she was living with hers. One Friday evening, after a particularly busy week at Guardian Financial, Tiana sat in her office reviewing next week's appointments. Her assistant, Marie, stuck her head in. "There's someone here to see you. He doesn't have an appointment, but he says it's important." "Who is it?" "He didn't give a name. Just said he's a potential client." Tiana almost said no. She was tired, ready to go home. But something made her agree. "Send him in." The man who walked in was about her age, tall with kind eyes and a nervous smile. He wore jeans and a button-down shirt, casual but neat. "I'm sorry to drop by without an appointment," he said. "My name is Andre Mitchell. I'm not actually a potential client. I wanted to talk to you about something else." Tiana's guard went up immediately. "What do you need?" "I heard about your business through a friend. She told me how you helped her sister protect her assets during a difficult divorce. I was impressed by what you're doing." "Thank you. But if you're not here for services." "I run a foundation that provides resources to domestic violence survivors," Andre explained. "We focus mainly on housing and legal aid, but we've been wanting to add financial services to what we offer. I wondered if you'd be interested in partnering with us." Tiana sat back in her chair, studying him. "Tell me more." They talked for over an hour. Andre explained how his foundation, Safe Haven, operated. They had 3 shelters in the city and worked with dozens of domestic violence survivors every year. Many of those survivors struggled with financial abuse, partners who controlled all the money, destroyed their credit, or hid assets. "We have social workers and lawyers on staff," Andre said. "But we don't have anyone who specializes in the financial side of abuse. You'd be filling a critical gap. What would the partnership look like? You'd provide consulting services to our clients at a reduced rate. In exchange, we'd refer all our clients who need financial services to your firm. We'd also help fund some of the work through our grants." It made sense. It would help Guardian Financial grow while also helping women who desperately needed their services. "I'm interested," Tiana said. "Let me talk to my business partner and get back to you." Andre smiled, and Tiana noticed he had a really nice smile. "That's great. Here's my card. Call me when you've had a chance to discuss it." After he left, Tiana sat at her desk holding his business card. She'd been so focused on building her business and healing from her divorce that she hadn't thought about anything else, including dating or relationships. She wasn't ready. Not yet. But maybe someday. For now, though, she had a business to run and clients to help. That was enough. 8 months after starting Guardian Financial, Tiana received a phone call that gave her a grim sense of satisfaction. "This is Detective Morris from the Financial Crimes Unit," the voice on the other end said. "I'm calling about Preston Walker." Tiana's heart skipped. "What about him?" "He violated the terms of his probation. We've issued a warrant for his arrest." "What did he do?" "He stopped making restitution payments 3 months ago. His probation officer tried to work with him, but he's been uncooperative. The judge has revoked his probation. He's facing 6 months in jail." Tiana should have felt triumphant. Instead, she felt a weird mix of satisfaction and sadness. Preston had thrown away his second chance. When will he be arrested? "We're looking for him now. He stopped reporting to his probation officer and seems to have left the state. But we'll find him." They did find him 2 weeks later. Preston was arrested in Texas, working under a fake name at a car dealership. He was extradited back home and remanded into custody. The story made local news. Former financial analyst arrested for probation violation. Tiana's name wasn't mentioned, but several people recognized Preston and reached out to her. "I always knew there was something off about him," one former colleague of Preston's wrote on social media. "Glad you got away from him." The comments were well-meaning but uncomfortable. Tiana didn't want to be known as that woman whose husband defrauded her. She wanted to be known for her business, for helping people, for moving forward. Around the same time, Tiana heard about Brielle. Carol had called her father, the first time in months, to ask for money. Brielle was being evicted from her apartment because she couldn't pay rent. "She's behind on her restitution payments too," Carol said, her voice desperate. "She can't hold down a job. The probation thing keeps following her. Can you help?" "No," Tiana's father said firmly. "You and Brielle made your choices. You deal with the consequences." Carol hung up on him. Tiana's father relayed the conversation to her over their weekly dinner. "Do you think I'm being too harsh?" he asked. "No. Brielle is an adult. She knew what she was doing when she took that money from Preston. She has to figure out how to fix her life just like I had to figure out how to fix mine." Carol made it sound like you were punishing Brielle on purpose. "I'm not punishing anyone. I'm just not saving them from their own decisions." The news about Preston's arrest spread through their old social circles. Some people reached out to Tiana with support. Others, mostly Preston's friends, sent angry messages accusing her of being vindictive. "You couldn't just let him move on with his life?" one message read. "You had to destroy him completely?" Tiana deleted the messages without responding. She wasn't going to justify herself to people who didn't understand what Preston had done. But she did talk to Dr. Chin about it in therapy. "I keep thinking about how his life has fallen apart," Tiana admitted. "He lost his job, his career, his freedom. Part of me feels like maybe I pushed too hard. Maybe I should have just taken the divorce and moved on." "Do you really believe that?" Dr. Chin asked. Tiana thought about it. "No. He committed crimes. He stole from me. He forged my signature. He deserves to face consequences." "Then why do you feel guilty?" "Because I was raised to be nice. To forgive people. To not make waves. And what I did to Preston, holding him accountable, pushing for criminal charges, that wasn't nice. No. It was just. Is there a difference?" "A big one. Nice is about keeping the peace at any cost. Just is about standing up for what's right, even when it's uncomfortable." Tiana sat with that for a while. She'd spent her whole life trying to be nice, trying to keep everyone happy, trying to smooth over conflicts. And where had it gotten her? Married to a man who stole from her. Part of a family that treated her like garbage. Being just had been harder. It had required her to stand up for herself, to fight, to make people uncomfortable. But it had also freed her. Meanwhile, Guardian Financial continued to grow. They'd expanded to a second office location and now had a staff of 8. Tiana had hired 2 more accountants, a paralegal and a full-time office manager. The partnership with Andre's foundation, Safe Haven, had been incredibly successful. They'd helped 35 domestic violence survivors over the past 6 months, providing financial counseling and asset protection services. Tiana and Andre had also become friends. They met for coffee occasionally to discuss the partnership and plan future collaborations. Andre was easy to talk to, and Tiana found herself looking forward to their meetings. She still wasn't ready to date. But she was starting to remember what it felt like to enjoy someone's company without suspicion or resentment. One afternoon, Andre invited her to a fundraiser for Safe Haven. "It's our annual gala. We'd love to have you there as a guest and maybe have you speak about the financial side of domestic abuse." "Speak? In front of people? You're amazing at it. Every time you present at our training sessions, the staff is blown away. People need to hear your story." Tiana agreed, though the idea terrified her. She'd never been comfortable with public speaking. The gala was held at a nice hotel downtown. Tiana wore a burgundy dress she'd bought specifically for the occasion and felt elegant and professional. Andre greeted her at the door with a warm smile. "You look great," he said. "Thanks. I'm nervous." "Don't be. Just tell your story. People will connect with it." When it was time for Tiana to speak, she stood at the podium and looked out at the crowd of donors and supporters. For a moment, panic seized her. Then she saw Andre in the front row, giving her an encouraging nod. She told them about her marriage, about the betrayal and theft, about how she'd felt powerless and alone. And then she told them about how she'd fought back, protected herself, and built something meaningful from her pain. "Financial abuse is one of the most insidious forms of control," she said. "It traps people in bad situations because they can't see a way out. They don't have access to money, to resources, to independence. That's what Guardian Financial is trying to change. We're helping people understand their finances, protect their assets, and build the foundation they need to leave abusive situations." When she finished, the room erupted in applause. Several people came up to her afterward, sharing their own stories or thanking her for her work. "That was incredible," Andre said when the crowd had thinned. "You're a natural. I don't know about that, but thank you for pushing me to do it." They stood there for a moment, and Tiana realized they were standing close, closer than friends usually did. Andre seemed to realize it too and took a small step back. "I should let you mingle with the donors," he said. "Right. Yes." But neither of them moved for a few more seconds. Later that night, lying in bed, Tiana thought about Andre. About how comfortable she felt around him. About how he'd never once made her feel stupid or small or inadequate. She wasn't ready to date. She kept telling herself that. But maybe, eventually, she could be. 3 days later, she got another call about Preston. He'd been sentenced to 6 months in county jail for violating his probation. He'd serve 4 months with time off for good behavior. He also has to continue making restitution payments when he gets out, the prosecutor told her. And his probation will be extended for another 2 years. Does he have any way to make those payments? He doesn't have a job. That's his problem to figure out. Tiana hung up and felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not anger, not sadness. Just a complete absence of emotion when it came to Preston. That was healing, she realized. Not caring anymore. Not being affected by his choices or his consequences. He was a stranger to her now. Someone she used to know but had no connection to anymore. She went back to work and focused on her next client meeting. There was a woman waiting who needed help, and that mattered more than anything Preston was going through. That evening, Jerome called with news about Carol and Brielle. "You're not going to believe this," he said. Carol and Brielle got into a huge fight at some restaurant. Brielle blamed Carol for encouraging the affair with Preston. Carol blamed Brielle for being stupid enough to get caught. It got so loud the restaurant called the cops. "You're kidding. I wish I was." Apparently they're not even living together anymore. Brielle moved in with some guy she met online, and Carol's living alone in that apartment in Arizona, bitter as hell. That's sad. Is it? They made their own mess. I know. But it's still sad to see people destroy their lives like that. After hanging up with Jerome, Tiana thought about the path she'd chosen versus the path Carol and Brielle had chosen. They'd both made choices based on anger, resentment, and entitlement. And those choices had led them to exactly where they were now, broke, alone, and bitter. Tiana had chosen differently. She'd chosen to rebuild, to help others, to transform her pain into purpose. And that had made all the difference. The final divorce hearing was scheduled for a Tuesday morning in late September. Tiana dressed carefully in a charcoal gray suit, wanting to look professional and confident. Robert met her at the courthouse. "This should be straightforward," he assured her. "Preston's lawyer has already agreed to all the terms. We just need the judge to sign off on it." They walked into the courtroom together. Preston was already there with his attorney, looking thinner than Tiana remembered and wearing a suit that had seen better days. He was out of jail now, having served his 4 months. He didn't look at her when she sat down. Judge Hartman entered and everyone stood. She reviewed the divorce settlement agreement, asking clarifying questions about the asset division and restitution schedule. "Mr. Walker, you understand you're agreeing to pay Mrs. Brooks $127,000 in restitution over the next 3 years?" "Yes, Your Honor." Preston's voice was flat. "And you're giving up all claims to the marital home, the vehicle, and the joint savings accounts?" "Yes, Your Honor." "Mrs. Brooks, you're satisfied with this agreement?" "Yes, Your Honor." Judge Hartman signed the papers. "Then this court grants the dissolution of marriage. You're both free to move forward with your lives. Good luck to you both." And just like that, it was over. Tiana walked out of the courtroom officially divorced. She should have felt something momentous, but mostly she just felt relieved. It was done. Finished. She could truly move forward now. Preston caught up with her in the hallway. "Tiana, wait." She stopped, turning to face him. Robert moved to intervene, but Tiana held up a hand. "It's okay." Preston looked uncomfortable, shifting his weight from foot to foot. "I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. For everything. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I need you to know I regret what I did." Tiana studied him. He looked genuinely remorseful, but she'd seen Preston fake sincerity before. She didn't know if this was real or just another manipulation. "Okay," she said simply. "That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Preston? That I forgive you? That we can be friends?" Tiana shook her head. "I don't forgive you. Maybe someday I will, but not today. And we're never going to be friends. You betrayed me in the worst possible way. The best thing you can do now is stay out of my life and focus on fixing yours." "I'm trying. It's hard though. I can't get a job in finance anymore because of the conviction. I'm working at a grocery store and living in a studio apartment. I'm sorry that's difficult for you, but you made choices that led you here. I know. I wish I could go back and do things differently. So do I. But we can't. We can only move forward." Tiana adjusted her purse on her shoulder. "I need to go. Good luck, Preston." She walked away before he could respond. Robert fell into step beside her. "You handled that well." "Did I? I feel like I should have said more. Or less. I don't know." "You said exactly what you needed to say. You didn't let him manipulate you into feeling sorry for him, but you weren't cruel either. That's the right balance." Outside the courthouse, Jerome and Kia were waiting. They'd taken the morning off to support Tiana. Jerome wrapped her in a bear hug. "How do you feel?" he asked. "Free," Tiana said, surprising herself. "I actually feel free." They went out for lunch to celebrate, and Tiana allowed herself to truly acknowledge what she'd accomplished. She'd left a toxic marriage. She'd held her abuser accountable. She'd rebuilt her finances and started a successful business. She'd helped hundreds of other women do the same. She'd survived. More than that, she'd thrived. That afternoon, Tiana went to her father's apartment. They hadn't seen each other in a couple weeks because he'd been traveling for work. He hugged her tightly. "I'm proud of you, baby girl. You know that, right?" "I know, Dad. I wish I'd been a better father to you when you needed me. I wish I'd stood up to Carol more, protected you from how she treated you. Dad, we've talked about this. You can't keep beating yourself up." "I know. But I want you to understand that I see now how badly I failed you. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you know how loved and valued you are." They sat and talked for hours, working through old hurts and building a stronger relationship. Tiana left feeling lighter than she had in years. As fall turned to winter, Tiana settled into her new life. Guardian Financial was thriving. They'd helped over 400 women in their first year of operation and had been featured in a local business magazine as one of the city's most innovative new companies. Tiana had also been invited to speak at conferences and women's groups about financial abuse and recovery. She developed a workshop series called Financial Freedom After Betrayal that was booking up months in advance. The partnership with Safe Haven had expanded. They were now providing services to 3 additional domestic violence organizations in the region. And Andre had become a close friend. They'd grabbed coffee a few times outside of work meetings. They'd gone to a concert together, just as friends they both insisted, though Kia had given Tiana a knowing look when she mentioned it. "You like him," Kia said. "As a friend. Tiana, I've seen you two together. There's chemistry there." "Maybe. But I'm not ready for anything serious." "Who said it has to be serious right away? Maybe you just go on a date. See what happens." Tiana thought about it. The idea scared her. She'd been so hurt by Preston that the thought of trusting someone romantically again felt impossible. But Andre was different from Preston. He was kind and steady. He did meaningful work. He'd never made her feel small or stupid or less than. Maybe Kia was right. Maybe she could try. The opportunity came in early December. Andre called her on a Saturday afternoon. "Hey, I have an extra ticket to a charity dinner tomorrow night. My +1 canceled. Would you want to come? It's for a good cause, children's literacy." Tiana hesitated for just a second. Then she heard herself say, "I'd love to." "Great. I'll pick you up at 6. Sounds perfect." After hanging up, Tiana immediately called Kia. "I think I just agreed to go on a date." "Finally. What are you going to wear?" They spent the next hour on FaceTime looking through Tiana's closet and planning her outfit. The next evening, Tiana was ready at 5:30, her nerves making it impossible to sit still. She wore a navy blue dress with a fitted bodice and flowing skirt. She'd had her hair done that morning and felt beautiful for the first time in a long time. When Andre arrived, his reaction told her she'd chosen well. "Wow, you look amazing." "Thanks. You clean up pretty nice yourself." They drove to the dinner in comfortable conversation. Andre told her about the literacy organization, and Tiana shared stories about her students. It felt easy and natural. At the dinner, they were seated with other young professionals and nonprofit leaders. The conversation was engaging, and Tiana found herself laughing more than she had in months. During dessert, Andre leaned over. "I'm having a really good time." "Me too. Can I be honest about something?" "Of course. This wasn't actually a last-minute thing. My +1 didn't cancel. I bought 2 tickets hoping you'd agree to come with me." Tiana smiled. "You could have just asked me on a date." "I wanted to. But I wasn't sure if you were ready. I didn't want to push." "I appreciate that. And for the record, I'm glad you asked. However you did it." They left the dinner and walked along the waterfront, even though it was cold and they should have gone straight home. They talked about everything, their childhoods, their dreams, their fears. "I was engaged once," Andre admitted. 3 years ago. She cheated on me with my business partner and embezzled from the foundation." "I'm so sorry." "It's okay." "Well, it's not okay, but I've dealt with it. That's actually why I started Safe Haven. I saw how many people were being hurt by people they trusted, and I wanted to do something about it. We have more in common than I realized. We both know what betrayal feels like. And we both chose to turn our pain into something that helps others." They stood by the water, watching the lights reflect off the surface. Andre reached out and took Tiana's hand. She didn't pull away. "I like you, Tiana. I have for a while now. And I know you're healing from what Preston did, and I'm not trying to rush anything. But I'd like to see where this could go. If you're interested." Tiana looked up at him, this kind man who'd been patient with her, who supported her business and believed in her mission. She was scared. Trusting someone romantically again terrified her. But she was also ready to try. "I'm interested," she said softly. Andre smiled and squeezed her hand. They stood there for a while longer, just holding hands and watching the water, before Andre drove her home. At her door, he kissed her gently on the cheek. "Good night, Tiana." "Good night, Andre." She went inside and leaned against the door, a smile spreading across her face. She'd been through hell. She'd been betrayed and hurt and broken. But she'd put herself back together. And now, maybe she was ready to start building something new. 2 years later, Tiana stood on the stage of a downtown hotel ballroom, looking out at 300 people gathered for Guardian Financial's expansion celebration. Her company now had 5 offices across 3 states and a team of 40 employees. They'd helped over 1,500 women protect their assets and rebuild their lives. "When I started this company, I was recently divorced, heartbroken, and angry," Tiana said into the microphone. I'd been betrayed by someone I trusted and I felt powerless. But I learned something important through that experience. You're only powerless if you accept being powerless. The moment you decide to fight back, to protect yourself, to demand what you deserve, everything changes. The crowd applauded. Tiana saw familiar faces, Jerome and Kia in the front row, her father and his new girlfriend beside them. Robert, her divorce attorney, who'd become a close friend and occasional legal consultant for Guardian Financial. Angela, the teacher who'd first inspired Tiana to start the business, now a client success manager for the company. And Andre, standing off to the side with a proud smile on his face. They'd been dating for 18 months now, taking things slow and steady. No rushing, no pressure. Just building something real and healthy based on trust and mutual respect. Guardian Financial isn't just a business, Tiana continued. It's a movement. We're showing women that financial independence is possible, that they don't have to stay in situations where they're being abused or stolen from, and that they have people who will support them. We're building a network of protection and empowerment. She looked down at her notes and decided to go off script. I want to tell you about where this all started. 2 years ago, I went to my stepsister's engagement party. She threw my gift in the trash without even opening it. Inside that gift was a check for $50,000, my inheritance from my grandmother. At the time, I was devastated. I felt humiliated and worthless. But that moment changed everything. Because if my stepsister had opened that gift, if she'd deposited that check, I would have lost the money that allowed me to start this company. That thrown-away gift became the foundation of everything we've built. The irony wasn't lost on her. Brielle's cruelty had accidentally saved Tiana's future. So I want to thank everyone who's been part of this journey. My team who works tirelessly to help our clients. Our partner organizations who trust us to support their most vulnerable community members. And most of all, our clients, the brave women who trusted us with their stories and let us help them take back their power. More applause. Tiana stepped down from the stage and was immediately surrounded by people wanting to congratulate her. She shook hands, accepted hugs, and smiled until her face hurt. Finally, she made her way over to Andre, who pulled her into a hug. That was incredible. I'm so proud of you. Thanks for being here. I wouldn't be anywhere else. They talked about moving in together recently. Tiana was considering it, though part of her was still hesitant about combining her life with someone else's. But Andre was patient, never pushing, always willing to go at her pace. Later that night, after the event ended and everyone went home, Tiana sat in her office and looked through old documents. She kept copies of everything from her divorce, the emails, the bank statements, the court records. She pulled out one email in particular, the one where Preston and Brielle had discussed how stupid Tiana was about finances. She read it again, feeling nothing but distant amusement. They thought she was stupid. They'd underestimated her completely. And look where everyone ended up. Preston was still making his restitution payments, working 2 jobs to afford it. He'd moved to another state and cut ties with everyone from his old life. Tiana had heard through mutual acquaintances that he'd finally gotten therapy and was trying to make amends for his past behavior. She hoped that was true for his sake, but she had no desire to verify it. Brielle had finished her probation and moved to the West Coast. She changed her name on social media and seemed to be trying to rebuild her life. Tiana had no ill will toward her anymore. She just felt nothing. Brielle was a stranger who'd once caused her pain. Carol had also moved away, living in Florida now. She and Tiana's father had finalized their divorce with minimal drama once they both accepted it was truly over. Tiana's father was dating a woman named Rachel who was kind and funny and actually seemed to like Tiana. It was refreshing. Tiana put the documents back in their folder and filed it away. She didn't need to look at them anymore. They were part of her history, but they didn't define her present. Her phone buzzed with a text from Jerome. Family dinner at our place Sunday? Rachel wants to meet Kia's famous lasagna. Tiana smiled and texted back, I'll be there. Can I bring Andre? Of course. The kids love him. Family dinner. Real family, the kind you chose and built and maintained through love and effort. That's what Tiana had now. The next few months were busy with continued expansion of Guardian Financial. They opened a 6th office, this one specifically focused on serving Spanish-speaking communities. They launched a scholarship program for women who wanted to pursue careers in finance or accounting. They partnered with 3 more domestic violence organizations. And Tiana was invited to speak at a national conference on financial abuse. The keynote address at a conference of over 2,000 people. This is huge, Kia said when Tiana told her about the invitation. National recognition. This puts Guardian Financial on the map. It puts the issue on the map, Tiana corrected. That's what matters. Financial abuse is so often overlooked in discussions about domestic violence. People focus on physical violence or emotional abuse, and they miss the economic control that keeps victims trapped. She spent weeks preparing her keynote, wanting to get it exactly right. She practiced with Andre, with Dr. Chin in therapy sessions, with her team at Guardian Financial. When the day finally came, she felt ready. The conference was in Chicago. Andre came with her, making it a mini vacation. They walked along the river, ate deep dish pizza, visited the art museum. It felt like a normal couple doing normal couple things, and Tiana realized she'd stopped waiting for something to go wrong. She trusted Andre. Completely. That was terrifying and wonderful in equal measure. The keynote went better than she could have hoped. She told her story, explained the prevalence of financial abuse, and outlined concrete steps organizations could take to help survivors. When she finished, she got a standing ovation. Afterward, dozens of people wanted to talk to her, to learn more about Guardian Financial, to discuss partnerships. She exchanged business cards and made connections that would benefit the company for years to come. That evening, Andre took her to a fancy restaurant to celebrate. They sat by the window overlooking the city lights, drinking wine and sharing a dessert. "I have something I want to ask you," Andre said as they finished their meal. Tiana's heart started pounding. Was he going to propose? She wasn't sure she was ready for that yet. But Andre didn't pull out a ring. Instead, he pulled out a folder. Safe Haven is expanding to 5 new cities next year. It's a huge undertaking and we're going to need partners in each location. I was hoping Guardian Financial might be interested in growing with us. Tiana looked through the proposal. It was ambitious: new offices, new staff, new programs. It would require a significant investment of time and resources. It was also an incredible opportunity. This is amazing. But it's a big commitment. I know. And I want to be clear, this is a business proposal, not a relationship thing. If you're not interested or if you think it's too much, that's completely okay. It won't affect us. Tiana appreciated that distinction. She looked at the numbers, the projections, the potential impact. I want to do it, she said. I'll need to talk to Kia and get approval from our board, but yes. This is exactly the kind of growth we've been planning for. They toasted to the partnership, and Tiana felt excited about the future in a way she hadn't allowed herself to feel in a long time. 6 months later, Guardian Financial and Safe Haven launched their joint expansion. New offices opened in Atlanta, Phoenix, Seattle, Denver, and Boston. The response was overwhelming. They had waiting lists for services in every city within the first month. Tiana found herself traveling constantly, training new staff, meeting with clients, giving presentations to donors and partners. It was exhausting but fulfilling. And through it all, Andre was there. Supporting her, celebrating with her, but also maintaining his own work and his own identity. They'd found a balance that worked, where their relationship enhanced their lives without consuming them. One evening, after returning from a particularly grueling week of travel, Tiana came home to find Andre had let himself in. She'd given him a key months ago, and cooked dinner. "I thought you might be too tired to deal with food," he said, pulling out her chair. "You're the best." Over dinner they talked about their weeks. Andre shared challenges at Safe Haven. Tiana told him about a particularly difficult client case. They'd become true partners not just in business but in life. "I love you," Andre said suddenly. "I've been wanting to say that for a while now, but I didn't want to rush you. But I do. I love you, Tiana." Tiana felt tears prick her eyes. She'd been so scared of those words after Preston, so afraid of what they might mean, of the vulnerability they required. But she wasn't scared anymore. "I love you too," she said. They moved in together 2 months later. Tiana sold her house, the one she'd fought so hard to keep in the divorce, and they bought a new place together. A fresh start with no bad memories attached. As they unpacked boxes and arranged furniture, Tiana thought about how far she'd come. From standing in that ballroom watching Brielle throw away her gift, to building a company that helped hundreds of women, to finding love again with someone who truly valued her. "What are you thinking about?" Andre asked, noticing her distant expression. "Just everything. How different my life is now compared to 3 years ago. Do you miss anything from before?" "No. Not one thing." Tiana looked around their new home, at their combined furniture and photos, at this life they were building together. "This is so much better." That night, after everything was unpacked and they'd christened their new place with takeout Chinese food and cheap wine, Tiana lay in bed next to Andre and felt completely at peace. She'd been betrayed and broken. She'd been humiliated and hurt. She'd lost a marriage and gained enemies. but she'd also found herself. She'd discovered strength she didn't know she had. She'd built something meaningful from the ashes of her worst experience. And she'd learned the most important lesson of all, that the best revenge wasn't destruction or retaliation. The best revenge was building a life so good, so full, so meaningful that the people who hurt you became irrelevant. Brielle had thrown away $50,000 without a second thought, thinking it was just another cheap gift from someone beneath her notice. But that thrown-away gift had changed everything. It had funded a business that now helped thousands of women. It had led Tiana to meaningful work that filled her with purpose. It had, in a roundabout way, led her to Andre and this new life they were building. Brielle had thought she was throwing away trash. But she'd actually thrown away the best thing that ever happened to Tiana.